Hello, everyone. My name is Jacob, and I run the account is Wiffle Breakers. I decided to go live today because I want to go live a little bit more often on the channel. Just talk sports cards, talk baseball cards. It's something I've kind of always wanted to do. Have a daily show, a weekly show. Whether this turns into that, whether I continue to do it, we'll see. But figured I'd just hit record, start, or I guess not even record, hit go live because here we are. I'm hoping that I can make this interactive with a chat. I didn't tell anyone I was doing this, so as far as expecting anyone to show up today, I expect exactly zero. But maybe we catch this on replay. Maybe there is some chats in here, and I can see what everyone has to say. Maybe teach me a thing. Maybe I can learn. Maybe you can learn. But essentially, what I'm doing here, why I'm here, is I think that the growth or lack thereof on social media is just more important than I've ever thought before. It's not about followers or anything like that. It's just being present and building a community. So I want to try and get back into that. I've had this channel as a breaking channel first. But in the end, I kind of wanted to just be like my personal experience in the hobby. And so while I have the name Wiffle Breakers, I don't know if I'll keep that. I'm just going to go with it for now. I think it is brand recognition. People do know me as Jacob from Wiffle Breakers. They know my Twitter account, my Instagram account, just as Wiffle Breakers. Even the name of my eBay store is Wiffle Breakers, but I haven't been breaking in over 3 years. Maybe it's only been 2 years, but it is something I would like to potentially bring back, but not be the central focus of me, of the brand, of the company. But for now, Central Breakers or Central Wiffle Breakers is the name and will be for now. That's all I'll say for now. I think kind of where I want to go with this in general is just like the social media presence. I feel like with the Rick Probstein news of announcing his own website, Snipe, I think that I've been so just like dead set on eBay is the vehicle that I want to use to sell cards. I just don't think it matters anymore. I think what him creating Snipe has done, what PWCC creating their own marketplace, Fanatics Collect buying that marketplace, Burbank Cards pulling most of their inventory off of eBay. I think what all of these things show me is that it's not about the platform anymore. It's not about the fee structure. It's not about the eyes. It's about your own community and what can you build as far as the social media following. So I was just so set in my ways that eBay was the only way. And I think I'm kind of learning, and I shouldn't even say learning. I think I failed to learn for 2 years that it hasn't always been eBay. I had just had these blinders on that my way was the right way. I couldn't have been more wrong. I still have a huge presence on eBay and I will continue to. I think the passiveness of eBay is what I like so much. I list cards, people find them, and that's great. The live selling portion of eBay, the live selling portion of Whatnot, or any other platforms that do offer it is really interesting. And I think it is important to build your community. Doesn't mean that it is the only way to go. It doesn't mean that you can't survive any other way. But I do think in order to build your brand, build your community, and help grow as much as possible, that some of the live selling platforms and just general growth is very, very important. I do feel that Whatnot has a bad reputation, but it's relatively unwarranted. Even when eBay started, there was all kinds of scams or whatever else you want to call it on there. People not following through. I mean, that's not even fair. eBay used to be based on cash money orders and checks in the mail. That's crazy to think about what we've come from as far as eBay as an entire platform. Whatnot is going through that period where they are still trying to develop what they are, who they are, what kind of users are going to use it, what kind of buyers are going to be on the platform, how to promote. I just saw that they raised another round of funding, and their valuation is extremely high of their company. So I think Whatnot is here to stay, and I think the negative reputation that it has is just a temporary drop in the bucket. I think it will change from that as time goes on. Every platform, every company, every company that has like users generating the product, generating the inventory is going to have bad examples. They're going to have bad apples. So I think I would just like to be the good. If I sell on these live platforms, I'm just going to be the good. I'm going to use the tools and abilities of these websites and platforms to grow for me, and also, just like I said, be the good in the system. Whatnot has a great program as far as offering new buyers and sellers a lot of incentive. And I know that is part of their growth strategy and probably won't last forever. But as of right now, the incentives that they offer are actually incredible. This is not to be a sales pitch. I'm telling this to myself. I'm just doing it live on YouTube, and hopefully you guys take some of the information from this, whether good, bad, or indifferent. It's just facts. They offer a $15 sign up for new buyers. And not only are they offering that $15 sign up for a new buyer, they are also offering a $5 credit to whoever sends the buyers to Whatnot. So I have a link, of course, everyone does. They give it to you as soon as you sign up. If you are invited by my link and you go click and sign into Whatnot and create an account, you have a free $15 to spend on the site, and I get a $5 referral if you do eventually spend that $15. So that referral program and incentive is massive. I mean, think about I could go into a show right now, a live Whatnot show, and buy a card for $15, and it's essentially free. Not only does that make me excited to have a free $15 card, but also makes me excited to get on the platform, learn what Whatnot is and how it works. And I will say that the impulse buying is real, and that's what the entire website is built on. It's capitalizing on short time decisions and making people decide very quickly. But it's also interesting because you can talk sports at pretty much any time. If I open Whatnot at 6 a.m., there are shows on. If I open Whatnot at 3 a.m. when I'm watching the end of the World Series game on the East Coast, it's on. There's someone in there talking sports, selling cards. It's really, really interesting. And it's not only sports cards, it's across all different categories now. It's a cool platform. On top of the buyer incentive, they also have a seller incentive. So if I, as a seller, invite an additional seller, someone who signs up as a selling account, they offer me $100 referral credit. That is wild to me. I know that they are trying to build the entire product and they want buyers, they want sellers, but $100 credit, that's a lot of money. And to think it's probably harder to get someone to sign up to sell. It's also not impossible by any means, especially if you have ever watched a show and if you see a card, which is what this literally happened to me, if you see a card go for more than it should, and when I say more, I mean a $2 card sells for $10, sells for $12, sells for $17, that incentivizes you to want to sell. So to bring on a plethora of new sellers really would not be that difficult if you have a successful room, you're helpful, and you answer questions. I think that's a great program. An additional incentive that they offered that I didn't know about when I signed up, I just signed up because I wanted to be a part of it, was they matched my first $150 in sales. Now, of course, there was some incentives behind that, but $150 is, again, a lot of money. So one of my biggest fears for signing on to Whatnot and creating an account and selling was that I wasn't going to have enough followers. I wasn't going to have enough people in there to make any of the cards and the sales valuable. So I didn't want to go in there and try and sell $10 cards and give them away for $1 and do that 100 times and be like, wow, I may have just lost $500 worth of eBay inventory and I have $100 to show for it. So the incentive that they offered was that if I sign in and I do 2 hours worth of live shows, so these are the requirements to get that $150, 2 hours worth of live shows, $150 in sales because they'll match that $150. And then I had to have sales across 5 different buyers. So you can't game the system and just do one buyer comes in and buys $150 worth of stuff and then you let the camera roll for 2 hours. So there is some protections on Whatnot, but even then the $150 incentive and the requirements to get there were not that difficult. I did reach it. It took me 2 shows, but that was only because I didn't have enough inventory ready. I was running, strategy that I had seen other people do. I was running 15-second auctions. And if the card didn't sell, I had started everything at $1. If the card didn't sell, I set it down, moved on to the next card. The reason that I did not get the 2 hours on my very first show is that I didn't have enough inventory. If a card didn't sell for in that 15 seconds, I set it down. So in 15 seconds, if you have 4 cards that don't sell, that's only 1 minute. I had about 200 cards ready. I went through every card in about 45 minutes. I did run some of the other ones again because they didn't sell. So I would run them again for other people to try and buy now that I had more people in the room as the show progressed. But I didn't run for as long as I expected to with the 200 cards. So I then had to run a second show. But again, you have a full week to do it from the time you start selling to the incentive requirements passing you by. So I had to rerun some of the cards, and then I started a second show to again run another 200. It ended up being like 300 cards, but to meet that 2 hour requirement. And I'll be honest, it flew by. I would say definitely nerves. There were nerves involved. There are nerves involved with this too. Going live, by the way, I've been thinking about this for probably 3 years, but we're here. Um, the the live selling and the like if the chat's there or if there are people in the room and no one's bidding, there is some anxiety that starts to build. But one thing I learned really quick is that it's not that serious. If that card doesn't sell, who cares? You get another card. I think to be successful on Whatnot, it comes about having popular players and moving quickly. If you are moving fast, the bids will come, the people will come to the room. I noticed it after I ran my first couple shows, and I got a lot of compliments on how I was doing. They were surprised that it was my first show, my second show, that I was new to the platform. And I said, well, I watched other shows and I learned quickly what I didn't like and what I do like. And what I like is when cards are moving quick. Sell or not, I don't care. Value or not, I don't care. On to the next. And that's what the entire platform is built around is quick, incentive or impulse buy based and just move quickly. So once I kind of saw that and thought, hey, I could probably do that, that is the key, like it unlocked the whole strategy for me. And the strategy is move quickly, a lot of cards, go fast, on to the next. You can list your entire title and entire inventory out for each individual card, but I didn't do that. Again, this is a strategy I saw from other people. I put baseball card number one or auction number one, auction baseball card number one, and then I created a quantity of 50. After that first one sells, the new title is auction baseball card number two. And so I learned that if the card doesn't sell, it doesn't like count against you. You just put it in the doesn't sell pile. And then once a card does sell, you just sticker it with, hey, this is card number one. This is card number two. I bought some stickers on Amazon. I thought I had them close. I don't have them close. I bought numbered stickers 1 through 500. So once a card sells, I just pull the card out, put it on the sleeve. That's the thing I learned. Put the card on the sleeve. Because if you put it on the top loader, then you have top loaders. There's a sticker, by the way. They have all the numbers on it. And those top loaders are no longer reusable because I like brand new top loaders if I can. So that sticker trick, I learned it after the second or third show. Someone told me about it. Once I started doing that, it was incredible. My inventory moved fast. I think it was my third or fourth show. I sold 174 cards in under 2 hours. Once I realized what people wanted, which I again refer to like hot players, things that are happening right now. So Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been a big seller for me in the last couple of weeks. Shohei Ohtani, massive. Nick Kurtz was a highly requested one. Cam Schlittler, highly requested player. So once I kind of learned what the chat wanted and what they were going to do, I just kind of evolved into that. It changed my card show buys. On my channel, I have card show buy videos of what I've been buying. And I just started doing that because I thought it'd be interesting to document everything. Again, I'm essentially restarting my entire YouTube channel. But I just thought it'd be interesting to document what I'm buying for people, because that's one of the most common questions I get asked when I tell people I run an eBay store. What are you buying? What do you buy? How do you buy? So I just started filming that stuff. But I can tell that the Whatnot influence is massive in my buying now. I'm buying players that I wouldn't normally buy. I'm paying prices that I wouldn't normally pay. As a value box digger, value box seller, I'm a bulk seller on eBay. One of the things I always focused on was value and expected value. So I was always out on the top players. Ellie De La Cruz, Paul Skeens, some of the best sellers in baseball, some of the most liquid cards. I never tried to buy them. The main reason was I always thought that they had kind of reached their peak, or they have reached their peak. So there wasn't going to be a ton of value, a ton of room to buy and sell. And now that's a flaw in my own strategy, I'm well aware. But one thing I would like to know, or would like to do moving forward, is to just do more research. I would go to a show. If I saw an Ellie or Paul Skeens card marked with a price, I didn't even bother looking it up. I didn't check and see if it was undervalued. I didn't check and see if it was underpriced. I just said, I'm good on those guys. But now that I have sold on Whatnot and people come in and they're asking for Ellie De La Cruz, they're asking for Paul Skeens, they're asking for Jackson Merrill and a lot of the hotter rookies, I now know that I need to buy those. I need to bring those in, and I need to have them ready to go at a moment's notice, because that's the other thing that happens on Whatnot. The chat kind of guides what inventory you list. People will come in and request, hey, I would like Tigers cards, Kevin McGonigal. That's a guy I'd never bought a card of until this weekend because I had so many people ask about McGonigal that I had to shift my buying, shift my strategy, and bought more. So that's just the entire game of Whatnot has changed my buying incentive, how I'm going to move at card shows, the amount I'm buying. I've increased the amount I'm buying because I can turn it over so much faster. If I can go on Whatnot and sell 500 cards in a week, that, I mean, think about that. And I could do it in just a few short hours. That changes how much I want to buy everywhere. I've hit 6 shows in the last the last 3 weekends. So I did 2 almost every weekend. I've just been buying so much because the opportunity to turn it over almost immediately is very, very helpful. I've only been on Whatnot since I think my first show was October 8th. So this is not coming from like an incredible, like successful story. This is 3 weeks in, but if I've sold 840 items in 3 weeks of going live twice a week, and I haven't gone live yet this week. I'm going live tomorrow. But if I can sell that many cards on a brand new platform that I'm still learning, that I still have no idea how to use, I haven't used the giveaway feature. I'm not using the promoted feature. I'm not using the share feature. There's so much more that I can do, and more I can sell even more cards once I learn some of these strategies. I just think the ability to work that into my buying strategy when I go to card shows, to work it into my trading strategy, and to work it into potentially consignment too. I talked to my brother the other day about him saying that he had a lot of eBay inventory that he's not as active with. He can't buy and sell as much as I do, but he does have some valuable cards that are kind of sitting. And I said, all right, build a box and I'll just run a show based on your just and only sell your cards. I told him we'd split the money 50-50, and it seems like a strategy that could work. Now that is a good opportunity because he's my brother. I know him and we can talk about cards, and he already knows my game and how I work, and that I am trustworthy, and that the money split is not necessarily about the money. It's about the cards not being around anymore for him. He doesn't have to look at them. They don't take up space. So the money's way more valuable than getting top value for each card. So that's just an opportunity that exists only to me in this moment. But what I can learn from that is the consignment method. How much can I sell for other people? Um, what strategies do I need to tell other people to build their inventory for me? If I tell, hey, bring me a box of only Ellie De La Cruz, Paul Skeens, Shohei Ohtani, and Mike Trout, and I'm going to sell those. That's bad advice from me. What I need to do is tell people, hey, what are some cards that you think hold some value? What are some popular players? What are some good condition cards? That's really important to me. I don't want to sell junk to people. I don't want to sell damaged cards. What are some things that I can move for you, and we can both potentially make a little bit of money? So that is just an avenue that I will go down eventually with my brother and I. It's something that I think will be easy for him. He could just give me a box of cards. I can run it and go from there. But I think that is an opportunity that I will explore more of. One of the things that I was really worried about when I started on Whatnot was I talked about this already, was the like lower value and selling cards for cheaper than they're worth. And that absolutely happened. My first couple shows, it's going to happen in the future. It'll happen tomorrow during my show. But what I did notice is that cards sold for more than I expected as well. And that's okay. Like it's okay to lose a little bit. The prices are down from what I expected, but it's fine. It's fine. The amount of people that come through or seeing your cards and the amount of volume that you can do in such a short period of time will make up the difference. So if you continue to buy well and buy good value, buy good players, buy popular players, selling for a little loss is irrelevant. It'll not losses in profit, but lower than expected value. It's fine. Keep moving inventory. Keep selling good inventory. I'm excited to see where it goes from here. I put like a structure on the thumbnail for this video. I have no idea if I'm going to continue to do that, if I'm going to follow that. I made that thumbnail in under 5 minutes. What I really wanted to do was just hit record, hit start. This is really important for me to just get over the fear of failure. That's my biggest thing as a business owner, as literally a person on earth, is just dealing with the fear of failure. So I'm here. I hit record. I feel good about it. I don't necessarily feel like I need to talk about everything on that list, but I'm going to. one of the things on it was the Upper Deck CEO post. I'm going to read this post out loud because I think it's interesting, and I also think it's somewhat relevant. This is from Jason Mazara, the president at the Upper Deck Company. He says, everything speculative is up right now. The stock market, Bitcoin, trading cards, and it's pricing some collectors out. Here's what the data shows. 50% of consumer spending in the US is coming from 10% of the population. Rich people are carrying the market, not just in cards, but across every category. Concert tickets, $1,000 for nosebleeds. Luxury goods, selling faster than ever. High-end collectibles, moving at record prices. When boxes cost $1,000 or more, you're not buying for fun anymore. You're speculating. You're betting that what you buy today will be worth significantly more tomorrow. And that works until it doesn't. Sports cards have always had speculation built in. You collect a rookie hoping they become a Hall of Famer. What's happening now is different in scale. And when markets become this speculative, they become fragile. I'm not saying the sky is falling. I'm saying we need to be honest about what's happening. This isn't sustainable growth driven by collectors who love the hobby. This is wealth concentration driving prices, and most people can't participate in that. And if the money suddenly moves elsewhere to bet on something else, we will all feel it. So that is Jason Mazara from the Upper Deck Company, him talking about the state of the card market. And I think that's a little, he says that it's not supposed to be sky is falling, but I think he absolutely is trying to drive that home to people. What I think he missed the mark on here is that it's pretty hard to work to buy for the average person to go buy a box of cards. And he's not wrong. That has the prices have grossly increased in the last couple of years. And to the point where I used to break 1 to 2 cases of every mainstream Topps product. That's just not plausible anymore. I'm not paying, I think it was $400 for a box of Finest, or maybe the secondary market was $400. I think they started at like $240. Topps Finest is not worth $240. You can pull a numbered Shohei Ohtani out of Topps Finest and it maybe sells for $40. Of course, if you pull gold or better, it's worth more than that. But if you're pulling a serial numbered card of the top player, you should be able to recoup more than 10% of your box costs. So he is right in that box prices and things like that have just grown exponentially and are not sustainable. But where he's missing the mark is that the reason that these boxes cost so much is that they are absolutely in demand. I would buy Topps Finest at $150 a box, and I would buy cases of it at $150 a box because I see the growth potential in singles, in having that inventory in my store, and in the ability to potentially pull a valuable card. However, at $200, I'm not willing to buy a case. I might buy a box. At $240, I'm probably out on a box. But I don't speak for the masses. The reason they're priced at $240 is because the demand is there. Yes, can that demand slip? Of course it can. But until it does, Topps is going to continue to produce this much product. They're going to continue to create parallels, and they're going to continue to make as much product as they can because the demand is there for it. Now, I see what he's saying, that it's kind of on stilts. There could be a little bit of volatility, and this could drop a little bit. But from my perspective, I don't deal in high end. I don't deal in the extreme highs and lows of the products and the players. I'm not trying to buy rookie cards and prospects to try and get the next Hall of Famer at the top of the market. One of the biggest things that's always been in baseball cards specifically is the prospecting game. That's not going away. We're always trying to find the undervalued prospect, the player that could be the best player ever, and it's not going away. We've already seen a pullback in the top autographs of Bowman Chrome every year selling for less money. Adley Rutschman was a big example. When he was the number 1 pick, his autos were selling for more than the number 1 pick from 2024, Travis Bazzana. So we've already seen a pullback of like, hey, let's calm down. Just because they're the number 1 pick doesn't mean they're going to be great. And let's actually find players that have these skill sets, that have successful skill sets, and that it's just not going to stop anytime soon. For me personally, I don't deal in that high end market, so it's a non-starter. What I do deal in is high volume. And I think some of the volume that I do may be a little volatile to, people entering and leaving the market, but there's always going to be collectors. And as a baseball card specialist and as someone who buys and sells baseball cards specifically, I think that my volatility level is at the lowest of the low within the market of sports cards, trading cards, Pokemon, whatever it is. I'm at the lowest of the low. I have volume selling at low cost. That's not the volume is the only thing that's important to me. The dollars and cents aren't. I just need to make, 50 cents per transaction over and over again. I enjoy what I do. So the work per dollar is not as important as it might be for someone else. And the entire game for me is that I'm still dealing with collectors. Yes, there are speculative people. Yes, I buy and sell cards at shows, but in the end, I'm still working with mostly baseball card collectors, set builders. Heritage is one of my favorite products to bust, rip, open, sell, and collect myself. Real One autographs are one of my biggest personal collections. I have some of the best players in the current game and a lot of retired players in PSA slabs that are just for me. One day I'll display them. I think like putting them right here, should say right there, would be a pretty cool idea. So I can have them in the background again if I continue to run this show, but just have a display case of those. But mine are mostly locked away in a safe, which I think this is not on the list. I think having cards locked away or stored in boxes is kind of lame. Like we should have this on display. I used to be pretty embarrassed of my collection, which is crazy. Like I used to be embarrassed that I bought and sold baseball cards, that I cared about that, but now it's cool again, which makes me feel good. But I was always embarrassed when I was in school. I remember being, it was probably 9th, 10th grade. I would go on the library computers and I would go to Beckett, the old Beckett message boards. And I would, like be embarrassed if anyone ever saw what I was doing, or if anyone ever asked what I was doing. I wouldn't tell the truth, which is so crazy to me. Because now all I want to do is talk about cards. All I want to do is build my community with people that might be interested. Hell, I'll talk about it with Pokemon collectors. I don't care. I just think that the entire, I don't want to call it a hobby anymore. Yes, some people are a hobby, but for me, it's the industry of trading cards, the industry of sports cards. It's all grouped together and has become my business, but also I still collect. I still enjoy it very much. Matt, I see you in the chat. Matt and Clemson, old Finest Flashbacks friend. Indeed, you are. The Finest Flashbacks breaks are kind of what put us on the map. That was I think our biggest live stream was a couple hundred people in one of the breaks. It may have been the first break. It was cool. So thanks for stopping by. Thanks for getting in the chat. You were the first person on the Wiffle show, and I have no idea if I'm going to continue with the Wiffle show, the Wiffle Wednesday show, the Wiffle Wednesday live. I have another name that I'm going to work on, but I don't want to say that out loud because I actually want to trademark it first. I think it's that good of a name. And yeah, those Finest Flashback breaks. Man, Josh and I we would get so giddy. So the breaks were always on Friday nights because that's what worked best for us. But the Thursday night before all the auctions would end, and he and I would like sit around and watch those on our phones together. Man, it was one of the most fun things of that entire time period that I remember, watching the auctions end on eBay and the ticks click through. It was a lot of fun. And actually on my thumbnail for this video, one of the things I have says restarting from failure. I don't want to say I failed at breaking because I didn't. I had fun when I did it. I did make a little bit of money, certainly not life-changing, certainly not some of the monies, certainly not the same money that some of these big breakers make where they're breaking cases upon cases. And I never want to be that. I never wanted to be that. I always wanted to be collector first. I wanted a group of 30 to 50 people that bought the same teams. We did one case of each product, maybe a couple personal boxes or smaller breaks after. That is a thing that I think I was really good at and we did well. But the main reason I stopped breaking, there were two things that happened. Number one was eBay changed their breakers rules on auctions. They made it so I could no longer, Joe Schmo, me, which I am and still am a regular guy selling on eBay. I couldn't just run auctions for a break. I had to be an approved breaker through eBay to run auctions. I think there was just too many people running breaks, too many people running bad breaks, and too many complaints. So they stopped allowing everyone to auction. Now, I still think I could run auctions for a break right now, and they would not stop them. However, the entire ecosystem of eBay and breakers on there is just it's not great. I don't need to take a 13% fee break on every single break. Or on every single auction, they're taking out 13% in fees. So I just don't need to have that as part of my pricing strategy. I think that's bad for me as the break constructor. And I also think it's bad for the consumer or anyone else that might buy into a break. So I don't like that structure. And then the other thing that happened, eBay clamped down. And then also we had our own website, wifflebreakers.com, which I actually don't even know if I type that into the search bar, what would happen right now. I think it'd just tell you this site is under repair or this site is available for sale. Um, we used Shopify, and Shopify shut down our store for the same reason, because we were running sports card breaks and they considered it gambling or whatever it might be. From my perspective, it was never an issue. I had one chargeback from someone, and that was because they bought a box. I ripped it live and shipped them the cards. They did not realize that what they were buying was a live break, so they ran a chargeback. The other issue with that was I emailed them to let them know, hey, we're breaking this box at this time. They never received the email. They never got anything. So when I didn't hear from them, I pushed it to the next week. So they didn't receive anything for about 7 or 8 days, and that's when they filed the chargeback. On that day, the day they filed the chargeback is the day that they found one of the emails that I sent, and they're like, "Oh, this is what's going on." They canceled the chargeback, and it still unfortunately negatively affected me. And then Shopify kicked us off the platform. And Shopify is so easy to use. So I switched over to WooCommerce. I tried Woo, and the website was really wonky. Building it up was really hard, and I'm just not good at transferring all the stuff that I needed to. That is a huge failure of mine, is that I'm not good at um, being patient and learning the platform. I just want everything to be simple. That's what Shopify was so good for. I had used it for another business in the past, so I enjoyed the Shopify user interface. And then once I had to do something new, I didn't enjoy it. It shut me down. It discouraged me. So I took that site down. So when I say that I failed as a breaker, I failed at learning how to navigate the issues that I had. As far as breaking, Matt, you just put it in the chat. From the customer side, it was never a failure. I enjoyed it very much. We did build a very small group, which is all I've ever wanted and will continue to want, a small group of people that wanted to break with us, because we knew what we were talking about. We went slow. We talked about every single card, or we mentioned every single player. It was just something that was therapeutic to myself and my brother Josh, and we just enjoyed it so much. I drove from my house to his house, 45 minutes away, every single Friday for 2 years, and it was fantastic. That time, like, I'll cherish it forever. As far as breaking again, I will bring it back. I'm sure I will. I'm essentially starting over with everything. I'm starting over with breaking. I'm starting over with YouTube. My YouTube channel, I let lapse. I guess that's not really the word, but they took me out of the partner program, so I wasn't making money anymore, which has never been the goal. I've never been like, oh, let's make money on YouTube. The most money I've ever been paid out by YouTube was like $21. And don't get me wrong, that was pretty cool. But it's more about building the community, talking sports cards, and saying the name Sean Murray every time we pull one of his cards, like my brother Josh did, and Kyle Lewis and other names like that. I will never forget those times. I still say those names the same way. I still say Kyle Lewis. Garrett Hampson is another one I say very emphatically. That's from my first video that I ever posted on YouTube, where I was talking to my brothers. I was like, hey guys, I think I could do this. Let me open these packs real quick. I posted it to YouTube. It's not even on this account. It's on a different account. It's like 17 views all time. And one of the things I said on there was Garrett Hampson. And the way I said it, my brothers were like, okay, you have to do that every time. You have to break, and you have to continue to be online. And for 2 years, that was a great strategy, and I enjoyed it very much. And then it became too time consuming. I was more focused on trying to sell cards and sell a lot of them on eBay, and the traction of the videos was almost zero. I wasn't getting anywhere, but I kind of forgot the whole point of making these videos. It was never about how many views it got. It was never about being uberly successful or being the best baseball card content on YouTube. It was just about talking about baseball cards. So I'm fully back. I'm diving right in. I'm trying to build the community back. I'm glad to see, Matt, you're in here. I kind of want to see some of the old faces. It's someone who was in the original breaks with us. We still stay in constant contact. My brother and him, the three of us, have a group chat that we talk on weekly. We talk about baseball. We're now in a fantasy baseball league together, and he has followed me over to Whatnot, and we've always been in contact about sports cards, and just it's it's a really good experience, and it's something I would like to do more of and grow again, and have more people in that tight circle, and just keep it loose. That is everything I had, everything I wanted to talk about today. My goal was to go 20 minutes. I'm at 35 plus minutes. I did have someone stop in, so that's one more person than I expected to stop by. So I appreciate you, Matt, for coming in. Anyone who watches this on replay, and if you have made it this far, you are absolutely incredible. Thank you. Throw a like on the channel. Follow along if this is something you'd like to do again. I'm going to try and do every Wednesday at noon. That is, there's no way I stick to that schedule, but I would like to do every Wednesday at noon, just chatting, kind of the things that I am doing in my business, my sports cards business, as well as everything that's happening in the sports card world, within baseball cards, within the baseball world, free agent signings, things like that. Maybe team previews. I might bring that back. But just in general, I want to talk about sports cards with an audience of like-minded people. That's it. That's all I'm here for. And I'd appreciate it if anyone followed along. I have a bunch of links in the description, links to my eBay store. You could check out my eBay store. You could check out Whatnot. That was a large portion of this video. And you can just follow us on social media. I say us, but it is just me, Josh, and I. We didn't have like a breakup or anything, but I've always kind of been the social media guy. And then when we stopped breaking, Josh and I didn't do as much stuff together. I kind of went on my own, and now this is my full-time job. So sports cards is everything to me. He has a family and can't devote that kind of time to just being into cards 24/7 like I am. So certainly not a breakup, certainly not an issue or anything. It was just he and I went down separate paths, but we still talk sports cards and baseball darn near every day. We're in every fantasy league imaginable together. It's great to have him as a brother, and as essentially just a like bouncing. We bounce ideas off each other within this platform, within sports cards, within some of the ideas I have, and it's fun to chat with him. So yeah, like I said, drop a follow, a like, anything you might see. I will hopefully be back next Wednesday and every Wednesday moving forward. But yeah, we'll see you next time. Matt, thank you again. I enjoyed it too. This is very therapeutic to just talk all this out. So I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time.